the move that has had a lot of people questioning has been the Indiana Pacers. And it's only right. We had this gentleman on last weekend when he was in New Orleans, got up early to talk to us, former slam dunk champion, also former Pacer, playerpopulation.com. You got to check the website out. It's outstanding. Fred Jones is back joining us again. Fred, good morning. How you doing? Gerald Brown, Howie C., how's everything going?
Good, good. Just got done coaching my little 4-year-old in his game, so I got a win this morning, so I'm good now.
Hey, listen, let me tell you, Fred, I got a 7-year-old, and coaching those kids, 7-year-old and a 10-year-old, you lose hair quickly, okay? You become bald very quickly when you're coaching those age groups.
I'm done. It's like herding cats. They don't want to listen at all.
Fred, appreciate having you back on. And thanks again, really coming back on and really just talking about, obviously, the trade deadline. But, was there a point the Pacers you thought would hold on to free agent to be Danny Granger because of his playoff experience and the chemistry that the Pacers had developed, only to now trade him for a player and Evan Turner, who has had very limited playoff experience?
I don't know if I was surprised. Danny has been kind of on the trading block the last couple of years. And I knew with the emergence of Paul George, it's not. Danny was used to that spotlight, and that Paul has taken over. So I didn't know how he was going to fit into the mix. To get a young player like Evan Turner in, I think they wanted to get younger in that position and a little more athletic off the bench. And, that may be the reason they made the trade.
No, Fred, I agree with you to some point. But, Danny Granger, he was the face of the franchise for 7 to 8 years. He was there, after the Malice in the Palace. When the Pacers were averaging 8,000 to 9,000 fans a game, Danny Granger, he was there, and I was a little surprised that they moved him, and especially with them on the verge of competing finally for a championship. They move a guy that's been there for a while, but like we know with the NBA, it's a business. You're here today, you're gone today, so it's not even like you're gone tomorrow. Evan Turner has a qualifying offer of $8 million for next season that the Pacers can possibly pick up. Do you think this trade was more about them setting themselves up just in case they lose or they can't sign free agent Lance Stevenson in the offseason?
I don't know if that was the case. I think they're putting all their eggs in one basket, and that's for this year. Danny was a free agent after this year also. Mm-hmm. Who knows if they could re-sign him? Evan Turner is the same way. I think they have the core group that they want to stay here. Now they're trying to figure out who can play that other role. And, $8 million, they can't afford that. They already got their money set somewhere else. So I don't know how that's going to work. But, I think they have their core group that they're going to try to move forward with and then just add pieces along the side.
But, Evan Turner really hasn't played in a meaningful game since he's been in the NBA, where Danny Granger has. They're all in, like you said, for a championship this season. They're not expecting Evan Turner to come in here and, be Paul George, but this is the first time he's going to play in some meaningful games competing for a championship. Do you think the moment might be too big for him because he really hasn't played any meaningful games in his career so far?
I won't say that it's too big because he just hasn't experienced it yet. You never know what can happen. Mm-hmm. That may be something that he's been waiting on to show his real talent. That's going to be determined, once the playoffs start and how it goes from here. But I don't think you can say that he's not ready for that if he's never experienced it because we don't know that yet.
Fred Jones joining us here on the Bottom Line Sports Show. Gerald Brown, Howie C. Let's move forward. Fred, you also played with the Toronto Raptors, and it really, again, was really interesting. We had known that they had moved Rudy Gay during the course of the season, but also there was so much talks about Kyle Lowry, who's having a career year and played very well, also being shown the door. How surprised were you that, and what does it say to the fans that they didn't move Kyle Lowry?
Well, I think that shows them that they're serious. They're serious about the team that they have right now, and they're in a pretty good spot in the East. And they want to see this team out this year. It's what they can do in the playoffs. Kyle Lowry, of course, is DeMar DeRozan is their all-star, but Kyle Lowry makes that team go, and his personality, has taken the team where they are today. So I think that was a good move for them to keep him on and see what they can do.
Yeah.
Fred, were you surprised your hometown team, the Portland Trailblazers, were not active during the trade deadline?
No, not really. I didn't think they were going to be, too much buyers or sellers. They got to get more scoring off the bench, and I think they're expecting C.J. McCullough to do that, which, he's going to, he was hurt at the beginning of the season, and I don't think he's got into a rhythm yet. I think they're expecting him to get in a rhythm down the stretch, and, that can give him that boost off the bench.
Yeah, and also keep in mind, Mo Williams had some family issues that he had to deal with, so he was away for the team right before the All-Star break, and thus, again, they suffered. But I mean, again, when we look at these teams, what do you think what should be the realistic bar of success for the Trailblazers? And just looking at the whole, what do you think the realistic bar of success for these teams such as the Trailblazers, the Raptors, and even the Phoenix Suns?
Yeah. I think all of them teams, a success is a first round playoff win. Mm-hmm. Portland is a young team, and they gotta get Lillard, more experience. And, they got LaMarcus Aldridge. And one thing they got to do, they have to win in the playoffs because they got to keep LaMarcus Aldridge. And to prove to him that they're moving in the right direction, they can't be a first-round exit. He's had that before. They got to show him more than what he has had in the past so that he, feels comfortable staying there.
Fred, I'm just going to jump right back to the Pacers. So they added Andrew Bottom, they added Andrew Bottom, and they also added Evan Turner recently. 2 players within the last month. Can a team make too many additions, especially this late in the season?
Too many? I don't know. I don't think those two trades that they did or those 2 pickups are kind of personalities that they can't handle. Okay. Andrew Bynum, he can go either way, but they don't have anything tied to him. They can let Andrew Bynum go the next day if he causes a problem. Evan Turner doesn't have that personality, so I don't think that's going to cause a rumbling in the locker room. On the floor you may go through some growing pains, but the Pacers have been going through some growing pains the last 10 games. They got to get back on track. So we'll see how that happens.
Former NBA player Fred Jones joining us here on the Bottom Line Sports Show. Gerald Brown, How We See. The site is Player Population. You got to check it out. It's fascinating, and definitely, again, it's eye-opener for the fans now to be able to get involved with that. Now, Fred, before we let you get on out of here, we've seen the Sixers and other teams such as you have the Sixers and these that are really trying to build, just specifically even the Sacramento Kings, if you will, that are building through the draft. And then looking at the situation where you came into the league as a 14th pick in the draft with the Pacers, how important was it to have veterans on that team to help you adjust to the NBA?
It was definitely important. Luckily I came to a team that was a really good team, and it had a lot of older veterans on the team. Reggie Miller, Jermaine O'Neal, who I had knew previously when he played in Portland, and younger guys like Al Harrington, but who had been in the league for 5 to 6 years. And they kind of took me under their wings and showed me the ropes, and that allowed me to come a little quicker than normal.
Yeah. Now, also, do you think that teams now today are sort of overlooking the value of having veterans on the team and just really just trying to load up and just go exclusively with young guys? Do you think that perhaps the NBA teams are just undervaluing a veteran leadership and a presence on certain NBA teams?
Definitely. I definitely do. And you could tell that prime example is the New York Knicks this year, and they've said that. Melo has came out and said that quite a bit, that they're missing, the Jason Kidd, the Rasheed Wallace, the Kurt Thomas, those veteran guys that kept the locker room tight and didn't allow certain things to happen. And you lose that with a young team because everybody's learning together. You got to have somebody on that roster in that locker room that has seen everything that the league can offer you, and give you advice on how to get over that.
Yeah. Hey, Fred, listen, we really appreciate you jumping back on the line with us just after last week, and definitely we look forward to bugging you down the down the line when the playoffs come up and getting your thoughts and opinions on everything associated with the NBA playoffs, especially what the Indiana Pacers are seeking to do this year.
Definitely, definitely. You got me anytime you need me.
Always a pleasure. I'm looking forward to playerpopulation.com. You got to check it out. Fred Jones, really always appreciate talking to him. Great guy. Make sure you check it out.